In the 1970s, one man shocked and dazzled the world with seemingly impossible feats of amazing psychic powers. Though many believed in his abilities, one man did not, and would dedicate his entire life to revealing the truth about what he was certain was a diabolical and villainous hoax. Hi friends, I'm Matt, and recently I did a video where I tried to become a remote viewer.
The session begins now. I don't know what I'm doing at all.
And spoiler alert, I did, maybe? I had the idea to do that again, this time with telekinesis. And in researching this, we found out that if this was possible, which is kind of a big if, I probably wouldn't be able to do it. But we did find a story that I do want to tell. The greatest psychic rivalry of all time. For starters, let's definitely get into what telekinesis is. Telekinesis, also known as psychokinesis, is the parapsychological phenomena of the supposed ability to move or alter objects with just the concentration of one's mind. Examples include levitating or bending objects. In the 1970s, Uri Geller exploded onto the psychic celebrity scene with his remarkable ability to, and hear me out here, bend spoons with his mind. Of course, these weren't the only skills he claimed. He was also known to possess telepathy and the ability to remote view. The Israeli-born magician quickly became known the world over for his seemingly impossible feats, and was even brought in by the US government for their remote viewing-focused Stargate project. But as Uri Geller's psychic star was rising, James Randi was making it his entire life's work to prove abilities just like Geller's to be completely and utterly fake. Though he became one of the country's greatest debunkers and skeptics, Randi would tell the New York Times that he preferred the title psychic investigator. Randi focused his interest on paranormal and pseudo-psychic claims, including faith healers, homeopaths, spiritualists, and those proclaiming to have psychic or telepathic power. He stated that anyone who could provide scientific evidence of paranormal activity or supernatural powers would receive a cash prize, but despite offering it for 6 decades, nobody has ever been able to cash in. In addition to being a gigantic skeptic, Randi was also a magician and escape artist, performing under the name The Amazing Randi. Prior to his work as The Amazing Randi, he performed as the Great Randall and performed telepathic feats. Though Randi would explain to his audience that it was simply deceit and that he was fooling them, many still believed that he held psychic abilities. It's this powerful deceit which contributed to Randi's skepticism of all those claiming psychic abilities, finding the act damaging to those deceived. As Geller gained notoriety in the 70s for his ability to bend metal with his mind, Randi was not that impressed. According to Randi, the items Geller bent with his mind were actually bent in advance and revealed to the audience as if he had bent them in real time using only his mind. The dispute would come to a head in 1973 when Randi would become partly responsible for one of Geller's most embarrassing performances ever, or I guess lack thereof. Geller was scheduled to appear on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Carson, who had also worked as a magician, was skeptical of Geller, and according to Randi, the producers of the show reached out to him, hoping he could, quote, prevent any trickery. On Randi's recommendation, the producers procured their own props for Geller's appearance, and did not let Geller or his team near them prior to the show. Once on air, Geller prefaced his appearance by saying that it doesn't always work, and that he has to be in the right mood. Carson would then spend much of the interview repeating to Geller that he can try anything he wants to, giving him control over which ability he demonstrates. Geller appears to stall several times in the interview, claiming that time constraints may also play a factor. Later, while attempting to recreate an experiment he did at SRI, he says, quote, "You know, I'm surprised because before this program, your producer came and he read me at least 40 questions you're going to ask me." Carson replies, "Well, I can ask you all kinds of questions if you'd like me to ask you questions." On the show, Geller would say that he was not feeling strong and that he was feeling, quote, pressed by Carson, despite the fact that Carson gave him free rein of what he demonstrated. During the show, Geller is unable to perform any great telepathic feats. Presumably to Randi's dismay, the Tonight Show appearance wouldn't be the nail in the coffin he had hoped for, as Geller would be asked back to the Merv Griffin show shortly after. In 1975, Randi would write an expose on Geller that he would later turn into a book titled The Truth About Uri Geller, that he would publish in 1982. In it, James Randi stakes claims in order to dismiss Uri Geller's psychic abilities. Randi wanted to address the media's fascination surrounding Uri's demonstrations of psychic powers, and wanted to expose the actual facts behind them, saying, quote, "To show the actual facts behind the stories and performances is to write off much of the so-called evidence for these superpowers." Randi claims that in 1989, Geller attempted to put a stop to the rivalry before they were to appear on a TV show together. According to Randi, he said that the rivalry could be squashed completely if Geller just admitted he was nothing more than a simple magician. And of course, Geller didn't agree. Though when asked by the New York Times, Geller said that he doesn't remember this exchange at all. In the following years, Geller would fruitlessly sue Randi several times for defamation, and the two would remain arch enemies for decades. Randi would go on to form the Committee for Scientific Investigations of Claims of the Paranormal. Though ironically, Randi would resign when told that the financial expense of targeting the litigious Geller in public would be too great. In 2009, Randi would tell the New York Times, quote, "I want to be cremated, and I want my ashes blown in Uri Geller's eyes." Geller, however, credits Randi for some of his success, calling him, quote, "my most influential and important publicist." In 2014, Geller stated that their feud was behind him, though the same could never be said for Randi. James Randi died on October 20th, 2020 at the age of 92. His obituaries would give him the title of the country's foremost skeptic. And as written by the hilarious Lauren in the research department, no word on whether or not his ashes ended up in Geller's eyes. I hope you found this interesting. It was fascinating to me. A lifelong rivalry that spurred the careers of both these men. Maybe this can be chalked up to two different schools of thought. The first one thinking that we have an absolute responsibility to not fool people, and the other thinking that magic should just stay what it is, which is magic. I know which side I'm on, and I won't make that decision for anyone else. What's most interesting to me though about this whole thing is that neither of these dudes would have seen the success that they had seen if it wasn't for the other one being a giant pain in their ass. I mean, these dudes presumably hated each other, but in this weird symbiotic relationship, they required each other. I don't know what you take from that, but interesting for sure. If you're interested, I'd love to know your take in the comments.